Okay, so I've got some pre-made up acrylics already so that they are fluid. So it should be a nice runny consistency like this, so it just pours off whatever you're stirring it with. This black that I've got here is got quite thick, so I'm going to add to it rather than throw it away and start again, because this is fine. I could water it down, but I use quite a lot of black anyway, and I use it as my base. So I'm going to add, and I'm going to show you how to make this ready for your acrylic pour art. So using a fairly good quality paint, because you want the pigment to stay. You don't want to lose pigment over time. I'm going to put a liberal squeeze of paint in there. About that much. You can see I put quite a lot in there. Mix that in together, and then what you need is another medium which is going to keep the pigment while making it flow better. And what I'm using is from America. It's Ultrol, and it's a paint conditioner. It's usually used to thin out paints if you're going to use like a spray to do a wall. I'm going to put about the same amount again in there, so 50-50. And what you can do if you just want to have a go and see if you enjoy this kind of art and you don't want to go to the expense of buying that, because it is quite expensive, you can use PVC glue instead. So just your regular children's PVA glue. Sorry, PVA. So I've mixed that together, and as you can see it's still really quite thick. And this is when you have to start adding water. You don't want to add too much water, because that again is going to stop the pigment from being nice and rich. So I use a pipette. You can get these from most art shops or online. I've put 2 squirts in to start with, and then as I go along I will reduce that, because I've got to keep my eye on it. I don't want to go past the stage where it's still quite creamy, because if you go thin it's not going to look good on a canvas. So this is a time consuming part, and the preparation really is important to doing fluid art. You can't bypass this. In America they actually sell the paints already made up, so they have the silicone in them, which is what makes the cells, and they have the Floetrol or whatever version they've got of the conditioner already mixed in with the paint, so the pigment stays good, and you just use the amount that you want for your painting of each colour. But we don't have that over here. Maybe one day, but this is still very new to England, this kind of painting. So it's a good time to be starting while other people haven't quite got onto the bandwagon yet, and producing something really, really nice and effective that's really simple and easy to do, if not a bit messy. So I'm just going to test that now and see. If you see, look, it takes a second before it actually drops. It's still a bit of a drop rather than a pour, so we need to carry on going on until we've got that to a nice pour, sorry. It's getting a bit better. A little bit better again. Not far off now. Nope. So if you consider, if you want to use several different colours, you have to do this for each colour, which is why I'm not going to show you doing them all this time round. I just want to show you what can be achieved really easily with a little bit of practice. And I think personally it's more about getting your colour combinations right and deciding how much of each colour you want to use, what colour you want to use for your base. And when I say base colour, I mean generally it's black or white, and you don't have any silicone at all in the base colour because you don't want that one to have cells, because you don't want the canvas to come through. So if I decide to use this black as my base, I won't put silicone in it, and then it'll have a nice even spread along the canvas, and then any other colour that I add to it can have silicone in it and it'll make these beautiful cells. Let's just have a look at that. So you see it's pouring quite nicely. I think just a smidge more. You don't mind the base one being a little bit thinner than the other colours as well, because you need it to spread nicely along the canvas. Lovely. Okay, so that's that ready to go now. And the other colours that I've got ready are, let's move the way. I'm not very good at, I don't like waste, so these ones I've used before on a previous painting. We've got this one which is a metallic pink. You see how that pours beautifully there. And then there's a metallic gold. I could probably do a little bit more water. See that? That's better. And then this one is a metallic, a pale metallic bluey grey. It's beautiful. I love that colour. And this one on the end is a complete mix of anything that was left. They look at that, even on its own, it's really awesome, I think. So we've got that one to add in as well. But the next thing that we need to do is get the canvas. Okay, so this canvas is 25 by 20 centimetres. It's just a value stretched canvas. This particular one's from Hobbycraft, but you can buy them at all different retail places. I'm not sure if anyone's better than any other. No, I'm doing it that way. You might want to use these because it does get very wet if you want to keep it nice and stretched. But just for this I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so there's the canvas. And then the next thing you need is, you can use pins, matte pins, or you can just use anything to bring the canvas off the table, because you're going to want to be able to move it and get your hands around it without putting your fingers all over everything. So this just keeps it so you can get access to the corners and everything without making too much mess. And that's the reason why I've got my gloves on as well, because it is a very messy process. And I'm just about to go and put my apron on as well, because I don't want to ruin my clothes. It's very, very easy to get into a complete mess doing this, so you need to take as many precautions as possible so that doesn't happen. But one thing that I think I will do before I start, before I start putting the pour on, I'm going to get a brush and I'm going to paint the corners. Oh, brushes. Okay. That brush. Okay, I'm just going to paint the outside corners here around with the black. This may get covered completely anyway, but just in case, we don't really want any white spots coming through. So don't have to do it sort of beautifully, but you're just trying to get rid of any white. That's that. Okay, so that goes on there like that. And the next thing that we need is another container for a painting about this size. You don't really need anything bigger than one of these. Actually, one of those will be fine. So you need one about that size. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start pouring the colours into this cup here and decide how we want it to go. So the first colour you put in is going to be on the top. So you choose which one you want to have right at the very top. So I think I might go for, I don't know, pink, because it's a vibrant colour. I'm putting pink first, and then a little bit of black. It doesn't matter if you get any on here, so don't worry. I'm going to go for silver. The silicone, which I've already put in, you can use either coconut milk, which is quite expensive, but it's really, really effective, and you only need one little squeeze, or you can use treadmill oil, silicone oil, whatever silicone oil you can buy locally. I got that one off the internet. That will last me forever. Like, you literally just use a couple of drops in each colour. So once you've bought it, you probably won't need to buy another one if you buy that size. That looks pretty. Put some more black in there. And then I'll put some of our mixture in there now. What's that? A little bit more pink. Silver. Black. So I'm just trying to mix it up a bit. Gold. Oh, fair bit of gold in that bit. Sometimes you can't even see the colour. You wonder where it's got to, but then all of a sudden it'll just appear in a set out of a cell at the bottom, underneath the cell. It can look really stunning. I'll put another bit of this in there. Bulk it up a bit. I like that blue coming through. The last of the pink. A bit more of black. Ooh. A bit more pink. Get rid of it, use it all, because I don't like waste. I don't like waste at all. Not many artists can afford to waste. And then you'll see it all go down the sides of the onto the newspaper and think, I thought you didn't like waste. You sometimes have to let it happen. But yeah, that's good. Okay, put more of that on there. Right, so okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my pot hold it like that. Then I get my canvas and I'm going to put it down like that in the middle. Get it like this, so I've got it nice and firm and it's not going to come off and tip. Okay, and that's going in the middle. You want to leave it there for a little while because those cells are all active in there and they're doing things. So just leave it there to find all the different colours and shapes. Right, in the meantime I'm going to pour this around the outside like that. And what this helps do, it helps the colour slip and slide over the canvas, and it moves a lot more fluidly and easily than if I just put it straight on the white canvas. So it does a good job. Just keep going with that. Doesn't matter if it goes over the edge, there's quite a lot on there. Keep going. That. You see why it takes 3 or 4 days to dry, and this is why, because it's so thick, the paint. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to take a bit of that paint off because I don't want it to so much. Whoop. Okay, right, so now I'm going to start to do this. I'm not going to take it off like really quickly. I'm going to just tease it a little bit and just give it a little to the side and then another side. Just billow it out a bit. There you are. Can you see that? And just tease it again on this side. There. There it goes. A little bit this way. I find doing it this way you get such an interesting